In today's class, we are going to start a new unit which is modern physics. Now, your modern physics is not actually modern, it is very old. Okay, so most of it is from 18th to 19th century physics. And we don't have 20th century physics part, but our 20th century part physics is indirectly dependent on 18th and 19th century physics. So modern, because I am using this word, it is not actually modern, it is old. Okay. Now in modern physics, why are we actually trying to learn this modern physics is, now if you look at classical mechanics or Newtonian mechanics, okay, classical mechanics or Newtonian mechanics, what is happening is, okay, we'll talk of a body having some mass m, we'll talk of its energy, momentum, all such kind of stuff, assuming this mass is constant and we are assuming some point object is present, some point object is present, and for this point object there is some mass and we are trying to treat different objects as particles. Okay, so most of your classical mechanics or Newtonian mechanics is based on assumption that your objects that you have are indirectly or directly particles. We are trying to study particles. Now when it comes to modern physics part, okay, we will try to enter into, okay, first part is like we will try to study dual nature of matter and radiation. What is this dual nature of matter and radiation? I will tell you. But I told you previously also, but once again I will keep telling you again and again. So here your dual nature in the sense, okay, dual nature means you will have particle nature, you will have wave nature, both will be there. Okay, in dual nature you will have particle and wave nature. Okay, now at quantum level, okay, we will try to study, indirectly at quantum level, if you are going, you cannot assume everything to be a particle. Okay, for big object, if you are assuming that this mass is m, okay, if it is a particle, okay, fine, for according to classical mechanics, to explain some kind of scientific explanations, this particle idea will work out. Okay, treating everything as particle will work out. But why we are studying this dual nature of matter and radiation means we cannot explain everything in physics using this particle nature. Okay, we sometimes do actually need wave nature as well. So you cannot treat everything as a particle and try to explain things. Okay, that is one thing. Then the second chapter that you are going to study is your Bohr's atom. Okay, Bohr's atom in the sense, okay, Bohr's atom means basically what your atoms are made up of. Okay, so inside atoms there will be a nucleus and electrons will be revolving. So what is the radius of nucleus and all such kind of stuff will be studied in nuclear physics. In Bohr's atom you will study about orbit radius, Okay, basically this part is indirectly your chemistry, atomic structure. Most of it is very well, I mean it will be more very well explained in chemistry itself. Okay, so orbit radius will be there, that we will try to calculate time periods, energies and angular momentums, all such kind of stuff you will calculate in this chapter. Now coming to your third chapter in modern physics is, okay, you will try to study X-rays. Okay, so here you will study hydrogen spectrum, lot of other things I will talk about each in detail, but you will study about this hydrogen spectrum and all. Okay, right. Next, coming to third part, your X-rays. Okay, so you will also study X-rays, and then why X-rays I will tell you. Then you will be studying nuclear physics. Now these are the four main chapters that you are actually going to study in modern physics. Now it appears as if these chapters are tough, but if you start thinking too much, these chapters will appear to be tough, but within JEE syllabus I feel that, okay, this is very easy. This part of the unit, okay, it is very easy. And according to previously it was like around in 30 questions pattern, people used to ask around 4 to 5 questions minimum, and later now people are asking minimum at least 3 to 4 questions out of this topic. Okay, in the worst case at least 2 will come. Okay, in the latest pattern of your mains and NEET, minimum 2. And coming to the advanced paper, definitely 2 questions will come and they will be easy. You will feel that it is tough, but trust me, it is easy. Why it is easy, I will tell you. Now, in this chapter, okay, majority of the part will be related to photoelectric effect. Now, this photoelectric effect you will study anyhow in chemistry. You will study in detail. So almost it is the same even here. Nothing will change much in chemistry also. Now second thing, coming to Bohr's atom, you will study in chemistry as atomic structure. And then even in this part, this X-rays, okay, it is reverse process of photoelectric effect. And in X-rays, that wavelength and all, it will be related to atomic structure. Even this, it is there in chemistry as well. Okay, and your nuclear physics will be exactly similar to nuclear chemistry. Only thing is, there people will talk of chemical reactions. You don't talk of chemical reactions here, but you will talk of slightly different terms. But almost everything is same. So learning this chapter, okay, you should not leave this chapter. You should learn this chapter. You must learn this chapter. Why? Because covering this part is indirectly covering your chemistry. Okay, so you will have your basic ideas of chemistry covered from everywhere. Okay, so now why am I telling you this is, okay, why I will tell you, why this dual nature of matter and radiation I will explain. But so far what you have learnt in classical or Newtonian mechanics, till your mechanics part, from motion in straight line to rotational dynamics, okay, you will take some big objects. You will not take at quantum level, you will take some big objects, and for that big objects you will assume it to be some point mass, or you will treat as particles, and then you will try to study its energy, you will try to study its motion, everything. You will try to give kinetic energy, rotational kinetic energy, translational kinetic energy. You will try to calculate center of mass, you will try to calculate different quantities, linear momentum, angular momentum, torque and all such quantities you will try to calculate in classical mechanics related to Newtonian mechanics. But as you keep going inside deeper into the structure of molecules or atoms, you will not get answers for everything. Okay, if you keep going to molecular level, you need answers to explain certain kinds of motion. So to explain certain kinds of motion, your classical physics will not be able to answer everything. So that is why we actually come to modern physics and we'll start going into quantum level, means you will start going to molecular levels. Okay, so going to quantum level is very much required to explain certain phenomena. Okay, what are those certain phenomena? I will tell you, don't worry. Okay, so why this dual nature of matter and radiation is coming, why are we actually studying this, how this is related to, and all we will study. Okay, but remember, to understand quantum physics at greater level, we need to have understanding of modern physics part. Okay, right now the trend is quantum physics, but we need to understand modern physics first, then it will be helpful in understanding quantum physics at higher levels. Okay, so now in syllabus point of view, I told you easy and very important, because these things are anyhow repeating in chemistry. Okay, right? So now let's start with our first chapter in this unit. Okay, so our first chapter is dual nature of matter and radiation. Now, why is this dual nature of matter and radiation? I will explain first. Now, so our first chapter is dual nature of matter and radiation. Now, if it is NEET, okay, for NEET exam, from every chapter one question will be asked. Okay, so dual nature of matter and radiation, this is what we are going to study in this chapter. Now, first, okay, why is this coming, what is the context, I will tell you. Okay, now how actually any scientific idea works is, okay, you will have an idea, okay, you will propose it, then when you propose this idea, you will look at different observations, and then you will look at this idea, and then you will try to develop match, and if this match is convincing, that means indirectly you are trying to give proof. Okay, now if you give this, if anybody is able to give counter example to this idea, why something is happening this way, okay, if you are able to give counter example to this idea, then this idea will be lying aside. Okay, for example, in why this is coming in this chapter, I will tell you. Okay, you need to justify it with match and with proof. Okay, and if you sometimes you cannot give proof, okay, in match people will give mathematical induction idea, right? So let some n is there, some n plus 1, something like that they will give you. Now coming to physics part, you need to either give counter example, or you need to propose, I mean you are observing something and you are proposing this idea, no? So you at least give some kind of theory or justification. Okay, you will try to develop some theory and try to give some justification. This you will do it. Okay, and this you have to do it anyhow. Okay, so this is how any physics scientific idea works. Now, how this is related to dual nature of matter and radiation means, okay, now this part is actually related to optics. Now generally optics means, what will you do? You will divide this optics chapter into two parts. If you have studied properly, people will classify this as geometrical or ray optics, and other part is wave optics. Now optics means indirectly it is study of light only. So your study of light is nothing but your optics. Now in geometrical optics also you will study different effects, like you will study reflection of light, you will study refraction of light, right? Indirectly reflection, refraction you will study. Now when it comes to wave optics, you will study interference, you will study diffraction, you will study polarization. Now what is the difference here? Why can't I keep optics and try to explain reflection, refraction, interference, diffraction, polarization, keeping into a single topic. Why am I classifying this into geometrical optics and wave optics? Why we should know it? Okay. Now we are calling geometrical optics because we can prove these effects with help of geometry. Okay, we can prove this with help of geometry. These effects we can explain. But if you look at into the core part, I need to look at the idea, means what is this observation? Your observation is what? You are observing reflection in front of plane mirror or some curved mirror. What is that you are doing? You are observing, you are seeing something. Now you will say there is a ray, it is undergoing loss of reflection, loss of refraction, such kind of stuff, and you will try to justify it. Now when you are doing this, okay, you are doing some observation. Your observation is this, your observation is this. Now to explain these observations, you are giving some laws. Now if you look at this laws, okay, if you look at this geometrical optics laws, you will assume that light travels in straight line like this, right? Now if you come to wave optics part, okay, if wave optics is not done, don't worry, okay, those who are watching these videos without learning optics, okay, for now just remember that here you will assume that light travels in straight lines. Now if you look at into wave optics chapter, okay, in interference there is something called as Young's double slit experiment. YDSC experiment will be there. Okay, for now there is some experiment in wave optics chapter which you will study later, YDSC. What will YDSC do is it will explain the idea of interference. Okay, in this idea, okay, briefly if I tell you, if you take a screen here and if you keep two small holes and if light is entering like this, what happens is you will see some bright dark fringes. These are called fringes. Now if light is traveling in straight lines, then you should have what? Uniform intensity. You should not have this bright and dark fringes. Okay, you will have bright and dark fringes, okay, when light is passing out through this small hole. If it is diffraction, when it enters through a single hole, you will have alternate areas of bright and dark like this. If it is polarization, some other effect will be there. We will talk about it later in wave optics. Okay, but for now, okay, here look at this context that I am trying to explain. Now your geometrical optics, you are explaining some effects, you are observing something and you are explaining something. In wave optics, you are observing something, you are explaining. Now here what is happening? Here what is happening is, okay, now why am I not assuming light as straight lines or some rays like this here means, okay, in wave optics it is failing to explain these kind of effects. So human beings, I told you, when you are saying that you are observing something and you want to justify it, you need to give proper logic explanation and develop some maths. If you don't do that, nobody will accept what you propose. So here, okay, most of this geometrical optics was explained by Newton only. Okay, he told that he considered light to be particle and he told that light consists of photons. Something he explained, we will talk about it, we are going to talk about it, that is what this chapter is about. But here assuming light as rays, it worked, so we have accepted it. But this theory what they have proposed, it is failing to explain these effects, interference, diffraction, polarization. So what did scientists do? They have told light is wave. Okay, so now there is even this wave theory also will fail in certain areas. I will talk about it, but I hope you got the context. Why this dual nature of matter and radiation is because of this reason. Okay, so you cannot justify everything with a single theory. Okay, so you are observing something and you need to justify it. If you can develop some proper logic and give some maths, everybody will accept. and you will get probably, if you are alive now and if you are inventing something new, not inventing, discovering. Okay, so if you discover, then there is chance of getting some kind of Nobel Prize or anything. If you invent also, people are giving now, that's a different story. But my point is, you are doing a discovery, but just doing discovery will not help. All these are indirectly discoveries, right? Somebody has, they have discovered these things. Now you need to give explanation and proof for this part. That is what you are supposed to do now. Okay, now you cannot give a single theory to do this. Okay, so why this dual nature? Dual nature means what? It is particle and wave. Okay, particle and wave nature, both are there. Okay, when particle nature is there, when wave nature is there, I am telling you, in wave optics we are considering wave nature, and without talking of this particular sense, we are just kind of using geometry, but how this particle thing and all will come, I will tell you. Okay, so I hope you got the context of this chapter. Why dual nature? Dual nature means what? It is particle as well as wave, both are there. Particle is there, wave is there. Okay, so both we are trying to do it. Okay, now let me erase this stuff. Okay, so from here, okay, so far all this is just kind of introduction, that's all. Now from here the actual physics will start, and from here this chapter content will start. Okay, now try to understand. Okay, light, if you take, okay, right, matter and radiation, I told you. What is matter particle and what is radiation also I will tell you. Matter particle, for now, just keep it simple. It consists of two things. One is mass and other is charge. Radiation, for now, travels with speed of light. Matter particle will travel with, okay, close to speed of light, which is 3 into 10 power 8 radiation energy. Matter particle will travel with speed less than speed of light. Okay, these particles will have these properties and it will travel with less than speed of light. If you are calling something as matter particle, mostly that matter particle will travel with speed less than speed of light, and if you are calling something as radiation energy, it mostly travels with speed close to speed of light. Okay, so dual nature means particle and wave nature. Now why are we studying this? I will tell you. Now, for many years scientists have fought over the idea of deciding whether light is particle or wave. Okay, so light, first what effects it will explain means, your light will exhibit 1 reflection, 2 refraction, okay, then 3, okay, reflection, refraction, and your third one is interference, then diffraction, then polarization, okay, and then your light also will exhibit something called as photoelectric effect. Okay, so now why this chapter I will tell you. Now first reflection was identified. Okay, then while explaining reflection, what Newton did was, okay, I told you Newton, okay, tried to interfere in everybody's business. Okay, if instead of apple falling down, if tree branch would have fallen on his head, okay, it would have been much better. We don't need to study this much physics, right? So unfortunately it did not happen, right? So he invented even lot of maths. Okay, entire Newtonian mechanics, lot of people will feel as if it is some big headache. Okay, right? So first is your Newton's corpuscular theory. So what is Newton's corpuscular theory is, okay, your light consists of what are called as corpuscles. Okay, corpuscles are kind of small balls. Okay, small balls are packets. You will study probably this in your 7th or 8th class. Now to explain reflection, okay, he told light consists of small balls called corpuscles. So they'll hit some surface and they'll, normally any rigid body, what happens when it strikes some surface, it will bounce back. So our light also, when it hits the surface, following this angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection, it is bouncing back. This he gave, okay, everybody accepted in the start. Now problem has come with refraction. Now what is refraction? Bending of light. Okay, right? Even this, okay, this actually did not work, but some say it worked. Okay, let's not talk about it. But here these balls are indirectly particles only, right? This, assuming this particle could explain reflection, under some conditions there is some issue with refraction. Okay, let's not talk about it now because I don't want to get too much deviated. But assuming particle nature could, according to me and what I have read, it could only explain reflection. But in some books they will say refraction. I did not dig deep too much because I did not have much time. But there is some issue, okay, right? Keep that in mind. Coming to interference, particle nature did not work at all. Okay, your interference, diffraction, polarization, everything was explained according to Huygens wave theory. Okay, now in this diffraction, polarization, it was successfully explained to some extent. Huygens wave theory is only explaining this, and this Huygens wave theory is also explaining this reflection and refraction, whereas your particle nature could only explain only the reflection part. Refraction, under some conditions, I told you I will not talk about it. Okay, too much I have to start explaining, so I will not deviate, I will not waste your valuable time and my valuable time. So particle nature could only explain reflection. Wave theory could explain all this, but your wave theory once again failed to explain photoelectric effect. Your photoelectric effect is nothing but when light falls onto this metal, okay, electrons will be ejected from this metal surface. So ejection of electrons from this metal surface is your photoelectric effect when light falls on it. Now your wave theory could not explain photoelectric effect. Then, okay, so what we will call as Einstein, everybody will call, and they'll keep their wallpapers, logos, everything, and they'll give E equal to mc square, all such kind of stuff, right? So that is quantum theory. Okay, Einstein proposed quantum theory. Maxwell proposed electromagnetic wave theory. Okay, Maxwell's electromagnetic wave theory was actually, Maxwell should get some kind of credit, but okay, because I don't think during the time of Einstein Maxwell is there or not. Okay, so rest in peace his soul. Okay, so my point is Einstein tried to give quantum theory and he could successfully explain using quantum theory photoelectric effect. Okay, so electromagnetic wave theory also couldn't explain this photoelectric effect business. Now in this chapter, first this dual nature particle and wave is there, no? Okay, we'll study about this part. Okay, what is light means? It is both. Okay, you cannot say it is only particle, you cannot say it is only wave, it is both. To explain some effects, we are assuming particle nature, and to explain some effects, we are assuming wave nature, and we will say both are present for every body. Okay, so if you have studied de Broglie's wavelength in chemistry, you will know it. If a particle is having some momentum and if it is moving, a wave will be associated with it, something like that you will study, in physics also I will explain, don't worry. But my point is, we are, okay, human beings, okay, will try to being intelligent, we will try to take advantage of situation as we wish. So we will keep our own theory. Okay, later if somebody is identifying some other effect, keep my name. Okay, so please do that. Okay, let me get the credit also. Okay, right? If you are my student and identifying it, okay? So if not, leave. So my point is, we'll propose some kind of theory according to that situation. Okay, so but in general, what is this dual nature? This is what it is. Okay, so we'll study everything in detail now. Hope you have understood the context. Okay, keep these things in mind, because when you are looking into the notes, this context, why it is coming, if in that sense, if you start working out, your understanding will be a lot better. Okay, all right. Now let us start with this dual nature of matter and radiation. Now first let us talk of light and what light consists of. Okay, in optics we will just consider light as geometrical optics, it is ray, wave optics, it is wave, that's all. Okay, but what actually is light, nobody, I mean we did not talk anything. Okay, so that we will talk. So according to electromagnetic waves chapter in electromagnetism, light is a wave, it travels with the speed of light, it has electric field component, magnetic field component, they will be in mutually perpendicular direction, all such kind of stuff you must have studied previously. Okay, without that doing this chapter is meaningless. Okay, so that you have learnt anyhow so far, so I will not talk about it much now. But now coming to first part of this chapter, okay, what is light means. Okay, I will just write key points. Okay, light is, okay, packets of energy which are called as photons. Okay, light consists of photons. Okay, what are photons? Small packets of energy. Okay, right? Now the next question, I mean those who are thinking at minimum level, now what is this photon? Is it a particle? Is it a wave? Okay, you could have these doubts. Just hold on, let me check whether I have missed anything. No. Okay, right. Light consists of photons. What are photons means? Okay, small packets of energy. Okay, photons for now, assume that they are kind of how Newton gave, okay, his ball theory corpuscles. Okay, photons are nothing but your packets. Okay, right? Now this light or these packets travels with speed of light c equal to 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. Okay, these photons will travel with speed 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. Okay, now here, okay, one thing that I want you to keep in mind is your relative velocity ideas will not work, okay, with light. Okay, that means if you are traveling with c, if somebody is traveling on some imaginary train with c, one more person if he is traveling in another imaginary train with c, with respect to this is a and with respect to b, what is velocity of a means, previously in mechanics, classical mechanics you write va plus vb, here you cannot write c plus c 2c. Okay, this idea of relative velocity thing, such kind of stuff will not work with these greater speeds. Okay, often end of the lecture many students will keep running to me and they will try to argue. Okay, so relative velocity ideas and all will not work for this light. Okay, don't do anything such kind of thing. Okay, why and all, it is related to relativity. Okay, so don't think too much, it travels with speed of light, that's all. Okay, keep in mind. Now when it comes to mass, okay, your rest mass of photon is equal to 0. Rest mass of photon is equal to 0. What is this rest mass? I will tell you. Now, normally what is our mass definition? Amount of matter contained in the body, something like that you are giving, and you are defining it as fundamental unit. But correct definition of mass is, okay, in classical mechanics your mass is, okay, independent of reference frame. Whether you are looking from ground or whether you are looking from some moving object, your mass will not change, but velocity will change. Whereas at quantum level, what is your correct approach to your mass is equal to m naught by under root velocity v square by c square. Now this is your correct definition of mass, and this is called as relativistic mass. M is relativistic mass, m naught is rest mass. That means, okay, my point is, if there is some object and if it is moving, okay, if its rest mass is m, means you are, okay, understand this rest mass, it is important. You catch this particle, bring it to rest from with respect to your observation, okay, from ground, let us say you are observing, you have brought it to rest and you are trying to measure the mass. If it is showing some mass, that mass is your rest mass, but when it moves, your mass is this much, okay. Now in this also, okay, if you look at this, if v is very much less than c, that means your speed of the body is very much less than speed of light. If v is very much less than c, okay, your v square by c square means it is very small value, your m will be equal to m naught, your m is close to m naught, okay, right. So that is why in classical mechanics, that is from motion in straight line chapter to rotational dynamics, irrespective of whatever speed it is moving, anything is less than, mostly speed of light is something very big, 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. That much big value, you don't need to consider it. I mean, normal bodies will not move with such big speeds. So that is why our mass is, I mean, indirectly equal to m naught only, okay, right. I'm calling it as like kind of, it is kind of rest mass, okay. So your m is equal to m naught, but now in dealing with close to light, okay, you cannot just talk of anything that you wish, okay. You have to be very careful in giving energies, you have to choose your words very wisely, okay. So too much if you cross question, then you are gone, okay. Please don't question the question, okay. In this chapter many students will do it, why not this, why is only that, okay. But trust me, I don't want to waste your time, don't think too much. How much is required I am giving, just take it, that's all. Wherever logic is required, anyhow I am giving it, okay. So just bluntly accept what I am doing, you will be happy, you will clear the JEE. For the sake of subject, if you want, start reading very good books related to quantum physics, then your imagination of the subject will be different, okay, right. Now your rest mass of photon is 0, right. Next, your photons are, your next point is photons are electrically neutral, okay. Electrically neutral means photons don't have any charge, so that means only your charged particle will get affected by electric field or magnetic field. So photons are not affected by, okay, photons not affected by, okay, photons not affected by electric field E or magnetic field B, okay. Your photons are not affected by electric field or magnetic field, okay, right. So keep that point as well in your mind, okay. So your photons are not affected by electric field or magnetic field, okay, right. Next, now in classical mechanics, your next point is, if two particles are colliding like this, okay, if there are two different rigid bodies, if there is collision, Once again you will have two masses which are either, I mean in collision chapter you must have learned that velocities will be exchanged, such kind of stuff will be there. Now these two photons, if they are colliding, you can only get one photon. Okay, we do not know that. Or if three photons are coming, and you can even get four photons out of it. Okay, so conservation of number of photons, please don't do it, because you are assuming it as a particle. Don't do that. Okay, you can create photon can be created, photon can be destroyed, that depends upon the situation. Don't worry about it. Okay, so I have 10 photons or 10 photons coming now, don't think in that manner. Okay, so photon creation and photon destruction, nothing is in our hands, it is according to the logic from that situation. Okay, we will try to justify, nobody can say that this is happening exactly, but we will try to understand it, that's all. Next, now copy, I hope you have copied this stuff down. Okay, and these are your first basic points about the photons. Now next we will talk of the mathematical aspect of these photons. Okay, so this is one relation I want you to remember. Your next relation is your next stuff is, okay, your photons. Okay, like particles, any particle will have momentum, energy. Wave motion anyhow transfers energy and momentum. So your photons will have, okay, momentum of the photon is P is equal to h by lambda. Okay, now lambda, don't think wavelength is only property of wave, but in general, okay, in general, let me talk about it. In waves chapter, okay, there will be similar terms. Your velocity is equal to, if you have learned, frequency into wavelength. This you must have studied. Wavelength unit is lambda. Okay, now in this chapter your velocity is becoming c, your frequency is f, or in some books it is nu, which symbol they will keep, that depends, and your wavelength is lambda. Okay, and 1 nanometer is 10 power minus 9 meters. For problem solving sake, I will not remember later, that is why I am giving you. 1 Armstrong is 10 power minus 10 meters. Okay, so 1 manometer can be written as 10 times 10 power minus 10 meters. 10 into 10 power minus 10, that is equal to 10 Armstrong. 1 Armstrong is 1 by 10 nanometers. Okay, so this interconnection and relation is to be known. And your electron volt is unit of energy. This is wavelength lambda. Energy unit is, okay, basic maths you must know, 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joules. Okay, right? Now coming to your photons, okay, your photons will have momentum P is equal to h by lambda. Okay, now your h is Planck's constant, that is 6.6 into 10 power minus 34 joule second, you will write it. Okay, so that anyhow you must know it. This is what? Momentum. Next, second term that you are supposed to know is your energy of one photon is equal to hc by lambda. Okay, h is Planck's constant. Okay, this you must have studied in chemistry. Okay, lambda is wavelength. Now your energy of photon is hc by lambda. Okay. Now what is this H? What is this C? I will tell you. C is anyhow 3 into 10 power 8. Your H value is 6 point. How much? 6.2. Oh God. It is 6.625 into 10 power minus 34 will be there. Okay. Right. Unit is. This can also be written as H times frequency, because C by lambda from here is frequency. Your energy of photon is H times F. Your momentum of photon is H by lambda. Your energy is Hc by lambda. Okay. So your unit of H is joule. Frequency unit is per second. Okay. Frequency is 1 by time period. Okay. Your frequency is equal to 1 by time period. Time period unit is second. So 1 by second means, okay, if you send it to other side, it will become second. So energy unit is joules. So this will become joule second. For this unit is meters per second. Okay, right? So hope you have understood this basic stuff. Copy this stuff down. Now we will continue from here.